Hello, everybody. How are you today? Hello, Amy. I have just sent you an invite, so hopefully that is popping up somewhere. So we'll just give it a little moment, see if it does. Apologies for any background noise you might hear. I think you've sent me an invite as well. So there we go. Let's accept that. Apologies for any background noise you might hear. I have a neighbour who's getting stuff done to their roof. It seems to be on and off, the work that they're doing. It's kind of beyond my control, and it doesn't seem to matter where I go in this house. You can hear the work. They've just finished their lunch break, which is just absolutely typical. I am hopefully going to be joined by Amy Palko. I think we're just having a few little technical issues here, sort of messages going back and forth with invites, and you know what Instagram's like. But yeah, so get that sorted, and Amy will join me in a moment. Amy Palko isn't able to join. Okay, so we'll do that again in a moment. If you are new here and you don't know who I am, my name is Eva. I'm the director of the Scottish Yarn Festival, the Scottish Wool Producer Showcase, and I'm also the director and founder of our very own yarn brand. Let's try and see if we can get you connected again, Amy. There's always something. Nothing has been plain sailing this year. There we go. And I think it's a step back now to kind of get back into the camera because it's done that weird split screen thing. How are you today, lovely?
I'm fine now. That was a bit stressful. I was like, oh.
It happens all the time. I'm more concerned about the construction work outside and that just sort of drowning us out. But what can you do? It's your life.
I know. Well, I can hear you perfectly, but then I have been living basically in a building site for the last 2 weeks. So maybe I'm just very used to construction noise by now.
So welcome everybody who's joining us. I will of course save this to the grids and then upload it onto YouTube and all the places later on. But we thought we'd come together, have a little live because exciting things are happening on Saturday.
Yeah, in fact, do you know, today is actually the spring equinox, and I was just thinking I've actually never done an Instagram live before, so it's something new and kind of exciting and kind of pushing me outside of my comfort zone. And then of course it's to share all this lovely news about what's happening this Saturday, because of course at the Scottish Wool Producers Showcase I'm going to be launching my new pattern, so which of course is using your gorgeous yarn, Eva. So I'm really excited about that.
Yeah, so we thought we'd come on and do a little joint live and showcase the sort of different colour combinations that we've got for doing the Gallus kit.
No,
so I think that's
not
sorry.
Gallus.
Sorry, that's Martha trying to go at the cat flap now. Trying to get on, and I'm just like, wow, sorry. You've done the Gallus scarf. We've done that before. We're doing Thegither Cowl today. Yeah. Seriously, if it can go wrong, it's gone wrong in the run up to this event. But anyway, the Scottish Wool Producer Showcase is now sold out. Please do not travel. If you do not tickets, you will not get in. We are at capacity for the venue. I am drowning in emails and messages and pleading everything you can imagine at the minute. People desperate to get in. I'm sorry. Fire regulations are there for a reason. We can't go beyond it, and the tickets that have gone out, they are non-refundable, they are non-transferable. You cannot get tickets. I'm seeing notifications coming up, knitting groups all over the place, people going, how do I get tickets, because it says they're sold out. There are no tickets. Please don't, because we've got enough else going on in the background just now. Things like this, I've got to support my vendors and my designers and get stuff to the venue and get it set up. So if you've lucked out, you've lucked out. But Amy's going to be there for those lucky ticket holders. She's popping up between 1 and 4 in the hay room as part of a designer pop-up. But you'll be there all day, I'm sure.
I will. I'm not going away anywhere.
And it's not the only way to get the Thegither Cowl pattern either, because you will be launching it. Where are you launching it online? Is it all the places or just some of them?
So generally when I release a pattern, I release it on Ravelry and I also release it on Payhip. So it's available to people in either places. So
there you go. So it's going to be live on Saturday, so you can get it possibly before you travel. You can get it while you're there. You can get it afterwards. Don't worry about missing out on that. And if you want the yarn, the specific yarn to do one of the versions or to create your own, you can come to our stall, like the Scottish Yarn Festival kind of stall, at the event, or drop us an email and we'll pick it up afterwards, because we've had to temporarily take the stock off the website, and we will be working through orders, and we can PayPal invoice you afterwards, and all sorts. Okay, so do not panic. But if you do like one of these variations and you are coming to the showcase and you do want it, it would be really helpful if you send us a little message so we can look at inventory and try and work out what on earth we're going to take, because I cannot take it all. Don't drive. I'm having to pull in various favours to get it all there and back out again, because I can't leave it there overnight once the event's finished. So yes, enough of my rambling. What are you wearing?
Oh,
Would you like to tell us what you're wearing?
yeah, so I am wearing actually version 2 of the Thegither Cowl. So this hasn't been seen anywhere at all so far. I haven't shared it any, so it's an exclusive. But this is basically a much shorter version of the original. So, and I'll show you that just shortly. But this uses Baird and Gordon and Duncan. So basically what I've done is I've done two kind of variations, moving the colours around to create these two very different looking fabrics, which are joined together with a Kitchener stitch with a twist. So it just sits really beautifully up the back of your neck, keeping you all toasty, which is actually what I need today. It's freezing.
It is getting cold. I've just taken off like a big hooded layer.
Yeah. I'm actually thinking we've kind of coordinated our tartan and our check. It seems to be pretty spot here. So
I should have thought a cowl on, because I've got samples that have dried over there, and it's like, should have just grabbed one, but as you do.
So yeah, it's done basically as a tube. So you don't have any sort of knitting on color work knitting on the wrong side to do, and it's got a little bit of slip stitching just to make sure that your vertical lines there are staying true and uninterrupted. And there's no floats that are over 5 stitches, so there's no catching your floats either. So it's so important for me that my patterns are easy and fun to knit, and that you can just kind of drop into the experience of it. And I think I hope that this color work design really does that. And of course, it's inspired by tartan, which was inspired by the names of your colorways, Eva. So.
For anyone who's maybe a wee bit new to colour work, possibly a bit daunted about getting those floats right and it puckering at the back, your delightful friend, Jackie Rose, she did a little tutorial yesterday. I came across it in her stories, but I'm sure it's saved elsewhere. Where she said when she's knitting in around and doing colour work, she actually prefers to do it not on, she's using a circular needle, but she's doing the
Magic.
It's gone now. That's how stressed that technique. And she said that helps her prevent the puckering. And she said you're only ever going over 5 stitches, and that just keeps it nice and uniform and nice and straight. So top tip there for anyone who's a little bit concerned about it. I mean, it is just 1 stitch at a time. The joy of knitting is that you can rip it back if you make a mistake, and mistakes are sometimes part of the journey.
They absolutely are. And, I think, no fabric is actually going to be without its flaws, whether that is machine produced or whether it's hand produced.
Yeah.
But I think there is something quite magical about hand produced fabric, that it's created stitch by stitch, and each stitch has its own character, and so sometimes those characters are a little bit wild and unruly compared to some of the other slightly more uniform stitches. But that just creates the wonder of the fabric itself. So absolutely, if you get a few wayward stitches, I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing.
Not at all. So shall we go over the versions of the cowl that you've got there? And I've got a pile of yarn.
Absolutely.
So I'm going to pick through the list, and I think I've got them all, but we'll see.
So I'm going to share the first one that I knitted, and this is, I love this one so much. So this is Duncan and Tate and Wallace. There they are there.
There they are.
And so you'll see, and just take it off again. So you'll see that so you're using like 70 grams altogether of each colorway. And so each colorway gets an opportunity to be a main color, a contrast color, or an accent color. And then when you get to the end of like so many repeats, you then switch those colors around. So now your accent color has become your main, your contrast color has become your accent color, and your main color has become your contrast. And then you switch it round one last time. And so basically what you end up with is like what looks like 3 different tartans actually, but you're using the same yarn colors, just so that you use up as much of this gorgeous yarn as possible. And then I had a bit of an issue trying to figure out how best to join these the provisional cast on at one end and your live stitches at the other. And I tried a 3 needle bind off with this one, but actually in the final pattern, it's Kitchener stitch. So I did finally opt for the Kitchener. And then you've got one twist before you join it all together. And then I tend to wear mine like that, so that you get to see all 3 of the different coloured of fabrics of tartans all at once. So there we go. That's the Thegither. That's the original sample.
That's the original. So that's Duncan, Tate, and Wallace all together.
Beautiful, beautiful. And then I decided I was going to do a second sample because I really wanted to show how, how different it would be just changing your 3 colours and doing it in a different set. So let's see if I can remember what these are. And they've got Anderson, Bruce, and Christy.
There we go, Bruce.
Do you know how I remember that? Is it because it's ABC?
There we go.
So Christy. This is when Anderson gets to be the main colour. Yeah. This is where Christy gets to be the main colour, and this is where Bruce gets to be the main colour. This one was a lot of fun because actually once I finished it, I realised that I had inadvertently created kind of an iron brew Thegither, which I think is kind of perfect for being Scottish influenced, because I think Scotland is the only place where Coca-Cola is not the most drunk fizzy drink, and that's because we drink iron brew. And if you're not familiar with iron brew, it's a bright orange fizzy drink, and these are the brand colours.
Yeah, it's not far off, Christy. It really isn't. But it's interesting that's kind of where your head went first, because my head went with Kingfisher.
Oh yes, so absolutely colours of a Kingfisher.
I thought that's maybe what influenced you with where you are, so close to the Water of Leith.
Yeah.
Saying that, we have Kingfishers here, and it must be almost 25 years I've lived in Perthshire now. I've never seen one of the Kingfishers down by the Tay, or one of the otters or the seals or anything. And it's like, I'm just really unlucky when it comes to when I get the chance to go out and look for the wildlife, because I know they're there. I see the photos in the local photography groups and things. It's like, yeah, just unlucky.
Just need to time it right. But yeah, so this was the second sample that I knitted, and then like I said, I've got this wee third sample, which is the much shorter version. So basically this uses about 50 grams of 2 colours and about 25 grams of a contrast. So we've got Baird, Gordon, and Duncan there as the.
Oh, is it Baird? I'd grab Tate. There we go.
There we are. That's the 3.
That's slightly better, isn't it?
Yeah, I've done the same with this, and you'll see I've Kitchener stitched that one there. That's my Kitchener stitches. I'm not a very good Kitchener stitch, which is why the very first time I did it, I tried to do it with a 3 needle bind off, and I was so disappointed when it didn't work. But it is a Kitchener stitch at the back. I am getting better. The more I do it, the more I'm like, okay. Which is the same with anything, you know. I think if you haven't done colour work before and it is something that really attracts you, this is a very easy, repetitive pattern, and you can kind of really, after you've done it a few repeats, you really start to be able to memorize it and read your knitting so you know what's coming next, and you get lots of opportunities to practice. But what really drives you, I think, is the colour change, because you know it's coming.
Yeah.
and you
Just
get
keep going.
excited about it. So you keep going because you're like, I really want to see what this looks like when I start to switch the colours around. And it is such a dramatic colour change when you get there. So I think that's what really drives me. And certainly the test knitters have all said as well that, you know, it's been that kind of knit where you don't want to put it down. You want to keep
Yeah.
going because you want to see what happens next. So so there we go. There's a shorter one there as well. So if you had slightly less yarn to play with, or you just wanted a shorter piece because, you know, we're coming more into spring now, so maybe you don't want to have quite so much fabric, then that might be a better option.
Yeah.
But have I do have something else, and this is also an exclusive, and I haven't done very much of it because if you're connected to me on social media, on YouTube or here on Instagram, then you might have noticed things have been a bit quiet. Um, and that's because there has been a lot of work happening in my home. So there's been lots of painting, there's been lots of plastering, there's been lots of joiners here and plumbers and electricians and everything. So so yes, I haven't managed to do a whole lot of knitting, but I have started what will be the third iteration of the pattern. Now, this won't be written up in time for this weekend. So this third iteration, keep saying fourth, this third iteration will be released probably in September as a separate pattern, but it will be added as a free update to anybody who has purchased the cowl pattern. So it's going to be a scarf. But as you can see, it's not really serving its purpose as a scarf currently. And yes, it's Gordon and Baird, and it is no
Here it again. I did that again.
no. You're right. You're right. It is taped.
It is taped. I think what it is, it's just on the screen. It's sometimes just a little bit difficult to tell the difference between the grey and the sort of the oatmeal tones. But there we go.
Well, let me double. Yes, it is Baird.
Yeah,
It is Baird.
I've got them all written down somewhere. I should know at this point. There we go.
I was second guessing myself there. So yes, it's the Wallace,
Yeah,
the Gordon, and the Baird. So the three of them together. So you can just see how they're kind of playing together. This is with Gordon as the main colour, and we've got Baird as the contrast, and we've got Wallace as the accent. So just by putting these colours together, you get a really kind of wide opportunity to play with how colour dominance works as well. You know, so if you've got more of one colour and less of another, how it impacts the look of the fabric, and how those quantities of colours can really be something to play with in your knitting and in your colour work. So hopefully it gives people a real opportunity to play with your beautiful yarn, because I certainly have enjoyed playing with it.
yeah. I think there will be, and I think there's going to be another sample at the event as well, because
Yes.
the lovely, legendary Maggie, who has got knit, has agreed to do a sample knit for me because I just do not have the time. Colour work is not one of my better under the belt knitting skills. I'm more comfortable doing cables and lace. And that's not to say that I'm afraid of colour work, because I'm not. But I thought, know your limitations, and this is a sample that's sensitive. So Maggie stepped up to the beach, and she's doing a version, which is my choice, which is the Anderson, the Tate, and the Bruce all together. So I have seen a few sneaky photos.
Yeah.
It's looking good. I'm excited to see that one. And there's another variation that I think it might be one of your sample knitters ordered. So I've pulled that one together as well, just to let people see. Just three colour variations are endless,
Yeah,
really. I mean,
aren't they?
really, but they are, and then you go into sort of the tones of colours as well. Someone chose and bought to do their sample from me, or to do their test knit. This.
Oh yes, I love that combo.
So this is Colquhoun, Baird, and Gordon, and it's not a colour palette I would have thought of putting together. But then when I kind of grabbed it and put it out, it's like I know this is what this is for and where it's going. It's like I bet this is a test knitter. And yeah, so
I love that. I love that. I think those kind of colours, you know, really make me think of the Black Watch tartan.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, and I think if you are looking for inspiration, you know, you can look at different colors of three color tartans and, you know, see how these colors function together and you know, get some ideas on how to pull your colors together.
Yeah. Three really is the magic number, just like they say, you know, sort of just sort of filling them about. But I just thought that was such a beautiful combination that had been chosen. Just bring those along, grab those along, and kind of showcase those as well. Haven't seen any photos of how this one's working out, and I'm
Nope.
desperate. I don't have this person's Instagram handle, and it's like, can I get away with using the email address that they provided at time of sale to go? Can I see a wee sneaky picture of what you're up to? Because I'm pretty sure this is what it is.
Even
I
if it's not, it's a gorgeous
yeah.
combo.
It's a beautiful combo. Show us your knits, yeah.
Yeah. Just beautiful. No, I don't think there's, I mean, I think basically you could pick so many different color combos from your range.
Mhm.
Really, the best sort of rule of thumb that I've kind of come across in putting together my own has been to go for a dark, a light, and a pop, you
Yep.
know. And I think if you stuck to that, then you're pretty good, actually. I was slightly concerned about putting these two together because I was wondering whether it would be enough contrast, but actually it's worked out pretty well, I think. I'm quite pleased with how that's come together. But every other one, you know, like this, you've got your dark, you've got your light, and you've got your pop. You've got your dark, your light, and the grey is the pop.
Yeah.
So yeah, and then with this one as well. This one's pretty easy to spot. Your dark, your light, and the orange is the pop. So
What would Stephen West do?
that's why I ask myself on a daily basis.
Yeah.
But yeah, so excited to share this pattern. It's been quite a long time in the brewing, and yeah, just really pleased to be able to bring it out and to share it at such a wonderful event as that's happening on this Saturday. So yeah, looking forward to seeing everybody and to share, bringing along these samples so people can see them, they can try them on, and yeah, to actually launch the pattern out into the world.
Yeah. It's going to be so lovely to welcome you back to one of our events and to kind of have you there. And I mean, you did a slight designer pop up last time when you kind of came out with the Gallus, and I think that's where my head was going earlier. It doesn't feel like it was 6 months ago. He'd had mohair. Yes, he probably would put a mohair there in the cover, wouldn't he?
Well, feel free.
Absolutely. I mean, you could sort of like I always call it Swiss darning, you know, sort of duplicate stitch over just like a little square with a little wee pop of neon or something, you know, just transform or whatever, put a little heart motif in one of the little squares. I mean, there's so many things that you could do with this, but yeah, I'm so looking forward to you being there in a more kind of like official capacity again, having, you know, that sort of 3 hours pop up as a designer, bringing along your, well, I mean, you've kind of got a bit of a repertoire now,
Well,
haven't you?
I've got
Oh,
these three
yeah.
patterns now. So the first one came out in time for the Scottish Yarn Festival back in September, and that was the Gallus. So the Gallus scarf, which is I should have brought it over, but I've not. It's in a bag somewhere in a middle of a building site. So, but but I'm going to look it out for the Saturday. Don't worry.
Yeah.
So yes, it's a kind of a colour block scarf that's been done with short rows to create a string of parallelograms, really. And it's a very fun and easy, comforting knit, but gives you an opportunity to play again with a variety of colours. And then the next one that came out was the Korean, and that is a poncho pattern that's got some really interesting short rows in the rib at the back, and it's kind of offset, so it kind of creates this beautiful point that kind of comes down the front. So it's I think it's quite an elegant piece, and one that's very easy to throw on and wear as well. It's very comforting to knit too. It's a lot of stockinette. So yeah, those are the three patterns that are out at the moment. So I have samples for all of those, in fact multiple samples for each one, and I'm going to be bringing all of them along with me this Saturday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm hoping you have a lot of your yarn there on Saturday for me to choose from. There will be a lot of yarn in the building. There will. In terms of my own, because the space I've got, we're sharing with the remote vendors who can't be there in person. So the US Twill, the Easter Ooh, Brawley Matteo's coming, but he's got such limited, small, super special batch yarn. He doesn't have enough for a full stall, so he'll be in that space as well. And then there's our yarn. And we have what, 13, I think 13 shades now in 2.5 weights. And I'll say 2.5 because we've got the Aran weight that was supposed to be a test that it's kind of not. And I don't have labels for it. So if anyone wants that, go and look at my stories, let me know and I can hand label a limited amount. Yeah, I can't get all of it down to the venue, even though the venue is quite close to where I live. I don't drive. It's not worth hiring a van for all this for a 5 hour event. So if there is anything you are absolutely desperate to get your hands on, send me a message. I'll make sure. I mean, there will be limited amounts of everything going anyway, and all the Sinclairs going, and probably all the Innis, which is our two new ones. But we can only take so much, and it will be going all online afterwards. But yes, message, drop an email, do the things if there's something you're desperate to get your hands on, and we can kind of keep that aside or whatever. But yeah, I think just want to check I'm not missing anything. I knit the Coorie and the Bruce yarn. Love it. Thank you, Susie Knits. I think I came across your Korean online somewhere because I do occasionally go and stock Ravelry and stock my yarn, and I'm always pleasantly surprised at how people have transformed it themselves. So yeah, yeah.
It's been so fun to see, and that's one of the things I'm looking forward to so much about releasing this into the world. Is I can't wait to see what people do with it. I can't wait to see what colors people choose and how they switch it up. And people are just so incredibly creative, and every single person approaches every single knitting project from a very unique place. And so being able to see all of these kind of unique expressions of personality and desire and an inspiration is always just such a thrill. But knowing that it's that you kind of planted the seed that allowed that to form, it's just really special. So yeah, I can't wait.
Right, I think we'll wrap this up here just now because you've got some sandwiches to inhale before
Yes,
you go back to work.
I do. This is between clients, so I was like going, okay, we can do this.
I'm making the clothes dryer that's still got samples blocking and drying back into the space. Behind the scenes of yarn show prep here, folks.
There you are.
And start packing up things. So, but it's always a delight to have a wee chat with you and to support you, and feel really humbled and privileged to be part of your journey and how your practice is evolving as well. So thank you, Amy.
Thank you so much, and thank you for having me on the live and on Saturday. So looking forward to seeing you there, and looking forward to seeing everybody who's coming along.
Okay, thank you everybody. If you're just joining now, do not worry. Give me a few moments. This will be up on the grid for you to go and watch back at your leisure, and I'll put it in all the other places as well. Wonderful to see you both. Thank you. Yep. Thank you everybody. We will see you all later. Bye-bye.
Bye.